how you can extract reviews from Google Maps using the Google Maps scraper. Of course, you get everything else too, but you can also get the actual reviews. You can see it ticking away here, and we'll get into that. We'll look at the reviews, and I'm going to show you why you want the reviews and how you can use the reviews in your business to ultimately make a lead magnet and get more sales. And we're going to talk about how you can do that. And I can't show you all of that in this video, obviously, so there'll be some other resources in the comments down below. But my name is Ryan Borden. Let's get started. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to give you an intro. Then we're going to talk about where to get it. I'm going to give you a brief demo. I'm going to tell you why you want reviews in the first place. And this is where it ultimately works out because that's what equals the dollars. I'm going to give you the end-to-end process overview. Of course, my handwriting here is not winning any awards, but I'm just focusing on quality. So number 6, we're going to talk about the hands-on walkthrough. Then I'm going to give you some advanced extensions. And lastly, I'm going to give you ultimately the goal here of why we're doing this in the first place. We actually just covered the intro, so let's jump into where to get this and a brief demo. Let's take a step back. Let me recap this. This is the Google Maps Scraper plugin. I'm just going to stop it here and going to go ahead and go out of this for a minute. It is part of Scrapebox. If you don't have Scrapebox, then you can jump over to scrapebox.com. Lots of information here, but you can roll down to the bottom and grab it. And then the next thing you want to do is jump over to scrapeboxtips.com. And I'm going to give you all kinds of free resources, guides, tutorials, checklists, everything's free. Anyways, a bunch of useful things on how you can make money with Scrapebox or how you can accomplish certain goals depending on what you're trying to do, right? So, but scrapebox.com is where we get it. So we have the base software. The premium plugins are an additional investment. So you want to go to premium plugins, show available plugins, find the Google Maps scraper. If you already have it, great. You can install it or update it here. If you don't have it, you can click to add it to your Scrapebox and purchase that. And then once it's activated, it'll be right in here, right? And so then we go to premium plugins and we can go to the actual Google Maps scraper plugin, which is here. We'll load that. And then we'll see something like this. So basically, we can scrape Google Maps listings as you already saw, and then we have the option to additionally get the actual reviews from that. And I'll show you just briefly what that looks like. So like, for example, here, this is the reviews. It kind of all is smashed together, which is perfectly fine for what we're doing. If you wanted these pulled apart, you can do that too. But anyways, we're not going to jump into that right now. First, I really want to talk to you for a minute and show you what it is that you can do with this, because some people may already know, hey, I want to use Google reviews for XYZ. But if you don't know what you can use Google reviews for, then that really is a huge thing. So let me show you first, just quickly here. So we're on the same page. We just covered where to get it and a demo. So now we're actually going to talk about why you want the reviews in the first place. There's a lot you can do. I put together like 10 ways you can do it, right? So you can build an avatar, which is one of the things that I'm going to go over in this video. You may not know this, but you can actually build an in-depth avatar along with market research from the reviews. So you could take your own reviews of your own. If you have, like, say you're a plumber, right? That was the thing I was using, plumbers in Detroit. I'm up here in Detroit. If you're a plumber and you have at least 50 reviews, then you could use your own listing to get the reviews and understand who your avatar is, like who your actual customer is, and get their language. And the avatar is the very, very base. So when you do marketing, you know, most people, when they have a business, they start the business because they love doing the thing. If you're a plumber, then you love being a plumber. If you sell SEO, then you love SEO, right? Or whatever. And you want to do that, or at least you want to do it and get paid, even if you don't love it. But then what you don't realize is you have a second business, which is marketing, right? And so obviously Scrapebox has a lot of useful things when it comes to SEO, but in order to do any business, you need an avatar. So that is the foundation of literally everything you're doing in marketing, and marketing means I'm going to say for the purpose of this, marketing means growing your business, like getting customers, making people aware of it, getting them to buy your products, right? Because obviously that's how you make sales and you stay in business, right? So you can build an avatar with these, with the Google reviews, right? You can create an SEO optimized blog or landing page content because you can then understand the customer language and reverse engineer certain keyword ideas because your customer is really important. And maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but a lot of people don't know this. And if you don't, it's okay because the majority of people don't know it. But they use certain words and they use certain ideas, and that's the language that they use when they search. So if you're trying to rank in Google Maps or your local SEO and that sort of stuff, then you want to use the language and the words that they use because Google's going to show them, or Bing or whoever is going to show them the thing that's most like what they want because that's what they're going to engage with. So you can also look for your competitors' weaknesses. So like, for example, they never answer the phone. So if you find that your customers never, like your competitors, if you're in a local city and you're a plumber and there's 40 other plumbers in your area and most of your competitors keep coming up with like they never answer their phone, which is pretty common in small business, like 40% of phone calls go unanswered. And then a huge, like 90% of voicemails don't get returned or something like that. Anyways, so then you could create language that says we respond in 5 minutes or less. And you could really focus on that. And once you know your competitors' weaknesses, you can double down. And so I'm talking not about necessarily you. Like let's say you're selling SEO or you're trying to run an agency, right? You have to have clients, obviously. So your clients, then you can take this and spy on if your client happens to be a plumber, your client happens to be a roofer, your client happens to be a donut shop, whatever, it doesn't matter, right? A business. Then you can look at their competitors and then begin to do all of these things for your clients. And you can sell these all as services, of course. So you can fuel cold outreach personalization. Here's an example. I notice your competitors get slammed for solo service. I want to turn that onto your edge. And so you can then go and market to their competitors as well. Like if they cancel you or whatever, or if you aren't exclusive, you can understand user generated content. So if your client has a bunch of reviews, like let's say they have 175 reviews, most likely they aren't using those reviews. If they have a brick and mortar place, an amazing asset you can do is go screenshot their reviews off of Google, the 5-star ones, print them out, and just hang them floor to ceiling in their retail establishment. That does amazing stuff. But you can also put it on their website. So you can pull out and find the reviews that are amazing, and then you can put those reviews on the website. Because obviously reviews are social proof, and it's very important that customers trust a business, and if they see tons of reviews, then it's built more trust, right? Because they look at the website before they initiate any kind of transaction with the company, and trust is obviously important. So you can build review-based niche lists. So you can say you're looking for clients. You can look at different niches, and let's say plumbers get pretty good reviews, but let's say you just start working through different niches. Get a list of niches, Google it, go to ChatGPT, whatever, right? You can use the ChatGPT plugin in Scrapebox to help you with this, to generate a list of niches. And then you can start going through those niches with Google Maps Scraper plugin and find the ones that consistently have lots of low reviews. So you'll see the review count here and then the average stars. So if you have tons of, like you have a niche and it has tons of low stars, then you can go in and you can sell them things like reputation management, web design, CRM, like identify the problems in that niche because probably all their competitors are the same. And then you know what to sell them. So what else could you do? You could create lead magnets and audit offers. So I'm actually going to talk to you about that. Like I'm going to give you a whole process of how I use Google reviews to create lead magnets so that you can attract more people. So you can literally take your Google reviews or your competitors' Google reviews, and you can create a lead magnet from that you can then use to get more customers for yourself based off of the whole process, right? Or if you have clients, then you can use their Google reviews and their competitors' Google reviews to create lead magnets that then get them even more traffic and more sales, and then offer value to their customers, etc. Right? I assume you understand lead magnets, and I don't need to explain how those translate into traffic. If you don't, you can Google that. That's a different video. There's probably tons here on YouTube, but you give a lead magnet for free and reciprocity says, okay, I've got this lead magnet. Now I see value. Oh, this person knows what I'm talking about. They're talking about, I trust them because they've given me some value to help me begin to solve the problem I'm trying to solve, whether that's figuring out if I need to hire the plumber or how often I need to get a new roof, or, like if, what kind of donuts are gluten-free and if you sell those and why that really matters. I don't know, right? I'm just kind of making this stuff up, but it depends on the niche, whatever it is. So you can do all that. Identify local SEO gaps, right? So great reviews, but no mention of emergency service. Offer content optimization. Like let's say it's a plumber, they're going to have emergency service if your water line breaks. And if no one's mentioning that in reviews, then now we need to do SEO and create content around the fact that we have this, so that when people are searching for it at 1 o'clock in the morning, we come up first, right? Or our clients come up first. And so we could generate swipe copy for local ads. So if you're running ads on Google Ads or Facebook, you can then, obviously you need to know your avatar. So that's part of it, which we can get from the reviews, but we can understand the language in the reviews to then, and again, the ChatGPT plugin in Scrapebox can help you with this, but you can understand this language and then create better ads. And so I realize we're several minutes into this video, like 10 minutes already. And so I'm talking about what you can do. There's a lot here, right? This is a process. So I'm not gonna be able to give you like how to take Google reviews to all the way up to how do I turn that into clients in one video. And so number 10, actually, I didn't realize I had duplicated this one. So this one actually is kind of a duplicate of the reputation management one right here. But another thing you could do is identify popular phrases and pull them into like a Q&A, right? So if the reviews are if you have 170 reviews and there's a ton of repeat of popular things where, either they said they did something they didn't know, like they performed a service, or they're asking a question in the review, then you could turn that into a Q&A and you can put that in like the Google listing. And then you can also put that on the website. So when they click over, they're going to be like, if 38 people all got this certain service done, whatever that service might be, right? They got their gutters evaluated to see if they needed to have them cleaned or if they were going to be good, and then they got them cleaned, right? So you put that in the Q&A. We do gutter evaluation for free, and then we'll clean your gutters if they need to be cleaned, right? Again, I'm making this stuff up. Obviously, a service is a service, right? You're getting paid to solve a problem, whether it's your business or your client's business. They're getting paid to solve a problem and you're getting paid to solve their problem, which is helping them get more customers or doing SEO or reputation management or whatever you're selling them, right? So now that we're like looked at options, and this is really scratching the surface. If you wanted to, you could take all of this and you could really expand on this and think through a lot more things that you could do with reviews, but let's jump in and do this. And so I'll put resources down below in the description down below, because again, I can't walk you through this whole process, but basically now that we have covered why you want the reviews in the first place, let's jump into end-to-end process overview. The process is going to look something like this, right? So we're going to take, this is going to be quick and dirty, but we're going to get our reviews, right? So Google Maps Scraper plugin will get us the Google reviews, and then so gets the reviews from our listing or competitors. Sorry if I don't spell this right. And my arrows aren't working. And so once we have our thing, then we can take that and we can make an avatar out of that, right? Avatar is super important and foundational for everything. And even if you already have one, I would still take the reviews and make one with the process that I'm going to show you. I can't show you that process probably in this video because it's too many, but I'll put a link in the description down below. Once we have our avatar, we can understand how we can take our reviews and our avatar and generate a lead magnet that speaks directly to our potential customers, right? And again, this could be your clients' potential customers, whether it's your customers or your clients or whoever's, right? It doesn't matter. It could be your cousins if you're helping them grow their business, whatever, right? And then once we have our lead magnet, there is some methodology that we can make it, we can add some value to that. And I'm not going to go into that at the moment, but it makes a lead magnet really nice, and it makes, it's kind of some visual enhancements and different things, right? And formatting, but with a specific point. And so it makes it more trustworthy, right? It puts your lead magnet a step above, because anybody can kind of produce a terrible lead magnet, but we really don't want to hand out nonsense, right? That would be stupid. But if we're going to do it right. And so once we have this value, then we're going to take our lead magnet and then we're going to offer it. So in exchange for leads, right? And so there's a lot of ways that you can do this. So how can you do this? Again, I'm not going to go into this a ton, but we can do this on social media as one example. I mean, that might be the simplest and quickest media. So let's give a specific example of LinkedIn, for example. And I'm not talking about your standard, like, let's just create quality content on LinkedIn, like the gurus say, and if you build it, they will come. That's not true. Engagement drives engagement. I'll just tell you that right now. There's a whole method on LinkedIn, and the same thing works on X and it works on Facebook. It's a little different on each platform, but you build it, have an entire video on just this, but it's a methodology, and this is way beyond the scope of this video, but you do it and then you drive engagement, and there's a specific methodology and way that you do it. And if you don't do it this way, then it's not going to work. And again, it builds on human psychology and reciprocity. And the easiest way to get someone on LinkedIn to do what you want them to do is do that for them, right? But you can use automation to help do that, right? And again, links in the description. And so we can offer the lead magnet that way, and then we can offer the lead magnet through all of the social. But we could also, of course, build it in our CRM. If we have a CRM, we could build a squeeze page, put the lead magnet there, and then we can begin to email it to our list, to segment our list. If you want to run ads, you could run ads to get leads in that way. Of course, you could do SEO, and then when people come to the website, they see it. So if you're working with your clients, you sell them SEO. You can sell this whole process, right? So you could literally say, I'm going to sell you SEO, but I'll also sell you giving you an avatar. So I'm going to use the Google Maps Scraper plugin from Scrapebox to build you an avatar, because they probably don't have one. And if they do, it's probably not great, because a good avatar takes 30 hours to build unless you do it with the Google reviews. And we use AI to build an amazing avatar and market research, which you can spend thousands of dollars on. And so you can do that, and you can give that to your customer, your client, as a bonus, right? And then you can say, I'm going to build you a lead magnet that we can put on the website that speaks to your potential customer, and then I'm going to sell you SEO so that you rank in Google. So now you get more customers because you're ranking in Google. And then when they come to your website, because just getting them to the website isn't enough, they now have a lead magnet, and they can capture that email from that potential customer. So Bob's on Google, he searches for a plumber, he goes to the plumber website. Oh, here's a really cool thing that will help me. Bob enters his email address or his phone number, whatever, and Bob gets the lead magnet that you build them with the Google reviews as well. And then now that plumber can market to Bob and sell to them all year long and become a lifetime customer, and the lifetime value of that customer alone, one customer, could be huge. And so it won't take that many customers for them to say, yes, we're going to pay you for the SEO, we'll pay you for the avatar, we'll pay you for the lead magnet creation. And you can just do this all on repeat, right? And so like that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. But we're a long way into this, and I have spent all this time explaining how to do this. This is a path that you can use this for. So let's actually start the process. Now that we have covered end-to-end process overview, we're going to jump in hands-on walkthrough. So how do we do this? We go to premium plugins, show available plugins. If we don't have the Google Maps Scraper plugin, we go down here and we either purchase it or install it. If we have it, then we launch it, Google Maps Scraper plugin, and we are going to then punch in what we need. So We can go here, put in proxies, load them from Scrapebox or file. I'm not going to use proxies on this. It's standard proxies, just like everything else in Scrapebox. It's just IP port user pass type proxies. Same thing as, whoa. Right, so if you don't know the format, that's the format, the IP address, the port, the username, and the password. Again, we're not going to use it, but you tick the box if you want to. The business type. I'm going to say plumber. We've been talking about plumber. Let's just do pest control. Do something different. Pest control. And business location. I am in Detroit, Michigan. Number of results per keyword. You can run this up. There is a limit. Google has a limit. I want to say it's like 200 on Google Maps. It might be lower. Sometimes it's like 120. Sometimes it's a little bit more. But you can punch in 1,000 here. You're not going to get 1,000 per keyword. If you need more, then you can start throwing in zip codes here or other cities, suburbs, stuff like that, right? So there might not be 1,000 pest control places in Detroit. If you get into like restaurants, there's a lot more. So maybe use zip codes. If you get into like, you know, something that's much broader, like donut shops, there's probably a lot of donut shops, but there's probably not as many as there are like restaurants in general because it's more specific. You get the point. We can set up some delays in here, which is useful to make sure you don't get the IPs blocked. We got delays in seconds after each keyword, after loading maps in general, and then after searching. And so then we also have, so what happens is this is after each keyword. It has to process the keyword, get all the reviews and that sort of stuff. So this is kind of like the general delay where it's going to kind of work with the keyword and do everything, and then it's going to move on. But if there's 1,000 results or even 120, right, for Detroit, Michigan and pest control, and I can put in more than one location too, but then we may need other things. So we can do after load maps and we can do after searching itself. So it like does the search and then it opens up each listing individually to get all the information. So you can toy with these. There's some default ones. Page load timeout also is great for default. We want to make sure we tick this box that says grab reviews, and we can get up to 1,000 reviews. 1,000 is the max, and then they're going to be saved in this reviews folder here. So tick that off, away we go. We can load these and clear these out, of course, from file and Scrapebox and so on. And then we also have a snapshot option, which is pretty cool. We can save the snapshot. So like if you're working on this and you have like 30 zip codes and 12 keywords, that could be a lot of potential listings. So if you work with this for like an hour or whatever, and you got to close your laptop or I don't know, right? If you're doing this at your office and you're done for the day, you could, obviously I would let it run, but whatever the reason, maybe something's going to happen where you can't do this. Taking the laptop with you, whatever. Maybe you're about to get on a flight. I don't know. So you can save the snapshot, which kind of like pauses everything where it is. And then later you can come back and load the snapshot and just pick up right where you left off, which is pretty cool. When we're done, of course, we can export records as text and as Excel. That is exporting the records up here. The reviews themselves are in the reviews folder, which is separate. The last thing is just a bit of troubleshooting. So I do have a video already on how to use the Google Maps Scraper plugin. So I'll link that in the description too. That's why I didn't jump into that immediately here. I kind of jumped into like why we're going to use the reviews because this whole video is centered around the reviews, but I got to cover like obviously how to get there. And so troubleshooting, you can tick this box here. It'll show a browser. Don't interact with the browser. Just if something's not working, support may want you to do that, or you can do it so you can see, oh, it's saying the proxies are blocked and then get new proxies, or it's just not loading or whatever, right? Then maybe you need to whitelist in your antivirus, etc., right? I'm going to untick that. We don't need it. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit start here. And I'm going to actually just set this back to 10 because we don't need to have stupid amount of results for this video. So you'll see it go through some initialization stuff. I'm actually going to pause the video for just a moment because this does take just a minute. And I'll just unpause for a second. So we talked about those delays. You can see it happening. It delayed after loading maps. So it loaded maps and it delayed for 2 seconds because you don't want to go so fast you don't look like a human being. if you look like a bot where you're like trying to slam through a ton of stuff really fast, obviously the IPs are going to get blocked faster. So a little bit of delay here is a useful thing. It searched, it delayed for 4 seconds after the search, and then it looks like it had some sort of error here. So I'm just going to run it again. On occasion, there's some sort of error where Google Maps doesn't load, or I may have actually got my IP blocked for not using proxies because I've been messing around with this. But let's let it run again. Oh, it looks like it worked this time. So once in a while, it just happens. There could be some sort of error in the background where it just doesn't load the first time. And you'll see that because it just quit. And obviously, there are pest control services in Detroit. And I just hit start again, and away we go. And so now it is scraping results. It's scrolling through the results. We can see that. We can see starting to pop in here. This one has 87 reviews. So as it processes each one, now it's going to open that up and it's going to get those 87 reviews and download them. And then it says expanding, etc. Then it's going to go to the next one, and it keeps going, right? It keeps pulling in results, and then it's downloading these 53 reviews, and it's going in to pull the next result, whatever the next pest control company is, and get their reviews, the 162, so on and so forth, right? And so we don't even need to let this finish all 10. It'll just come through here. It is nice to see that we get the name, address, phone number, website, the stars, the review count, the reviews downloaded. And so sometimes here Google is a little wonky, right? We saw where Google like didn't load the first time we started it again. We can see that the reviews downloaded don't equal the review count here. If I was this company right here and I just wanted, like if this was me or this is my client, Bed Bug Exterminator Detroit, and I wanted to get the 162 reviews, I would just like type in the business name here and the location, and then just set results to like 1. And then Google's probably going to be more compliant. But we can see here, sometimes this is a thing where Google is displaying weird information. We can see Orkin, right? It downloaded 181 reviews out of 0. Obviously they have more than 0. This one has 989, Rose Pest Control. So sometimes you have to run it a second time. If you're looking for competitors' reviews, it's good enough because you don't have to have every single competitor, right? All of their reviews. So run it, take the reviews, and away you go. If you need to run it a second time because you're looking for like one particular thing or 2 particular companies, you can run it a second time. I don't know what to tell you other than Google's a little wonky sometimes, and sometimes they don't display everything. So Scrapebox is doing the best it can. It's getting what Google will display to it, but like it got 179 out of 401. Most likely it got to 179 and Google just stopped displaying reviews, which it can do. Sometimes they just stop displaying things. And so you can run it a second time and you get different results. Sometimes pages don't load and so on and so forth. It's Google. It is what it is, right? So for the purpose of this is like way plenty. So I'm going to hit stop here. We're looking for pest control. So like if I have a client, if it's me, if I have a pest control company, which I don't, or if I have a client, which is a pest control person, which I don't, but if I did, or I was trying to get them, then I would go here to more settings and click on the folder reviews, right? And so now I can see, have some plumbing reviews in here, but here's Pest City, for example, obviously a pest control one, Orkin. This is a big file. So it just kind of looks like this. Orkin recently visited my home. I was impressed by their professionalism. The technician arrived on time. They took the time to explain, the service was efficient, confident, blah, 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 smooth, stress-free. So that's like one review, right? And so what we can do here now is take all of these reviews and I can build a really great avatar off of this. So let me just show you that, and away we go here. So let me grab this. I'm going to copy this, pause the video here while I open this up. And so all I'm literally doing here, and again, links in the description down below to stuff. And this is outside of Scrapebox. This is ChatGPT. There is a ChatGPT plugin in Scrapebox, which is amazing, but this is a custom GPT. So anyways, I'm just going to slam in all of the reviews, right? Here they go. Away we go. Now let's see what happens, right? Because I want you to see the potential here. So it's giving us core desire, which is health. It's the primary desire. And these are the niches, which is homeowners, residential property managers, at least Orkin. They may do commercial, I'm not sure. And then demographic information. Some of this is really redundant, like, probably everybody from single people to married people to people with children are going to have, going to want pest control. So some things aren't particular, and so anyway, so we get some stuff here. This is nice. This is some job titles of people that are interested in these things, which is pretty handy for you if you wanted to target these people. Like if you were selling pest control services for your client, you tell your client, go on social media and target these job titles, right? Obviously, it could be outside of that, but this is information that they can use, personality types, topics of interest. Again, you can use all of this in selling them SEO. You can use all of this in everything, right? And then we could even take things like, so these are topics of interest, right? I could take all of these and put them in the rank tracker plugin. So premium plugins, the rank tracker plugin here in Scrapebox, I could take all of these topics of interest, put them in here as like SEO type keywords, and create a project and see where my client ranks on all these things. So then now I know what to look for, because these are the things that my avatar, my customer or their customer, right, is interested in. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff you can do with this, and this plays into all of your marketing, including the lead magnet creation and getting leads and running ads and whatever you're doing, right? Books they may read, which is pretty handy. So you can actually go take the books they can read and get reviews from there, but it's useful to know what they're thinking. You can actually take this and create like a whole day in the life of the customer. That's way beyond the scope of this, but it can be useful. Influencers they might follow, social media channels. So it's interesting that the majority of people here that are after this are going to hang out on Facebook and YouTube. They're also hanging out on Nextdoor, Instagram, and Reddit. Not that they don't hang out on LinkedIn, for example, but LinkedIn is like a professional platform typically in pest control. This seems like it's a B2C, like not business to business. And even if it is business to business, these are the primary places that they're after. So if you're running ads, you can go there, or creating content, so on and so forth. And then like say YouTube, for example. So they're on YouTube a lot because they're doing DIY. They may want to learn how to do pest control. And so it's possible, like if I have a pest control company or my client does, then I can sell them services, right, to create videos for YouTube that help the customer not need them, right? Or you do it as like a lead magnet where it's like, oh, you have mice, well, you can try this kind of mouse trap and you can try this, and then if it doesn't work, go over here. And it's okay to, for example, teach people how to catch mice, even if that's a service I sell, right? If I am a pest control person, I'm still going to teach them how to catch mice and like where the mice hang out and how to set mouse traps. Why would I do that? Because I'm giving away the service, right? And now they no longer need me. No. If they're going to buy from me in the first place, then if they were going to do it themselves in the first place, they were never going to buy from me. They were going to go to Walmart or wherever and buy a mouse trap and do it themselves. What happens is you want to show them how to do it. And then ideally, if I'm a pest control company, I want to show them a dead mouse in a mouse trap. And then, the person watching this is either going to be like, yeah, I want to go do that. They're like, I don't want to handle dead mice. I don't want to deal with all this. I don't want to have to deal with it. I just want to hire somebody to do it for me, because that's really what they're doing anyways. So you're just making their pain worse. They want to solve a problem. They want to get rid of the mice. Now they want to make their pain. You make their pain worse by showing them the dead mouse, and then they have to handle it. And oh, by the way, when you do it, make sure you wear gloves, because mice carry disease, and you don't want your children to get the diseases. And right, so you make their pain worse. So that's the hands-on walkthrough. Let's talk about the advanced extensions here. Right, so now we can make YouTube videos, and we can even go over here with the YouTube add-on in Scrapebox and get like the YouTube data scraper, for example, plugin. And I could go grab go get my competitors' YouTube channels, and I can plug it into, where is it here? So I could get the YouTube channel URL, and I could load YouTube channel videos. And so I can go to each one of my competitors and I can get all of their videos off their channel. And so then I can download the videos, I can analyze them, because there's a decent chance, especially a company like Orkin, if they have a lot of money, that they have made the videos and paid the money for the market research to know what videos to make. So I'm going to download their videos, I'm going to look at them, and I'm just going to recreate their videos for my client, right? if you don't have a big player in the space, you can still look and see what it is. And you might find there's not a whole lot of videos, but if there are, you can also come over here to the comment grabber and you can download the comments. And then we can see that they say that, if the top comment is mouse traps suck and they don't really work. I tried all these things. I just want somebody to do it. Well, then you can make a video to that, or whatever their pain points are, whatever they're saying doesn't work, we can lean into that because now we have all their comments and we can download them in bulk. We could analyze them in the ChatGPT plugin here, the ChatGPT OpenAI scraper. I could pop it all into the chat section and say, chat with me here, right? I can put it in here and say, analyze all of these YouTube comments and give me the common pain points and so on and so forth, right? Like the sky's the limit here. We're in the golden era. At least, which is right now. So influencers they follow, like Bob Via, the home edit, stuff like that. So then we can go watch their videos if we want on the subject and understand, they're going to be like Bob Via is going to be good at talking to this type of person, so we can emulate that. All right, motivation. They're frustrated by pests, worried about the health and safety, their health and safety, their kids, their families. Some feel burned out by previous companies. Probably they didn't catch the mice, or they didn't, catch the crickets or the roaches or whatever it is, right? They're skeptical, cautious buyers, often mid. So we can look for this. If you know they're skeptical, cautious buyers, then you've got to build trust. So we can build lead magnets. We can put reviews on the website. We can do all these things, and we can lean in and we can go to our client and be like, look, this is what you need to do. Pay us to do it. And then you can help them, because at the end of the day, the more sales you get them, the happier they're going to be with you and the more willing you are to keep paying you, to keep doing the stuff, and give you referrals, which is the golden thing, right? Past they might take problems they're facing, inconsistent service quality, unexpected charges, hidden fees, miscommunication, what's included. You can go against all these things and you can hedge against them in your website, in your marketing, in your lead magnets, and the whole nine yards. Paging frustrations, ineffective solutions. They showed up without calling like I asked. So look, if tons of people are saying that, tell your client, you gotta always call, because the competitors don't call, right? If this is a competitor listing. So this is what you need to do. And then they get good reviews and then they get referrals, right? And you're telling them this and they can get tons of referrals. Other people are like, I could have done better by going to Home Depot, right? So, you can, again, their pains and frustrations, the only thing you get paid for, some people would argue with me, I'm going to keep it simple. You get paid to solve problems. That's what you get paid for. So if this is their problems and their pain points, solve it for them, right? Use this data. Anyways, so we got all of this stuff, and you can even generate a Pixar headshot, which is kind of handy. Because technically avatars should have kind of a headshot. We got all of that from the reviews from Orkin, which we scraped using let's get rid of the rank tracker here, which we scraped using the Google Maps scraper plugin to get reviews. Now, I could also take all of my reviews. So we got all of these different reviews here, which show up. I could open up each one of them, Pest City USA, and I could mash in all of their reviews together when I created that avatar and get kind of a more comprehensive picture, and away we go, right? So lots of different things you can do there, and that's like step one. Remember, where'd it go? We did the Google Maps scraper plugin. We got the reviews from our competitor, and we created an avatar. From here, we can still do all of this stuff. So links in the description down below. And so that's one methodology of how you can do this. Technically speaking, you need the reviews give you the avatar, and at every juncture that you do in your marketing, whether you're trying to flesh out like what to sell them, whether you're doing the SEO, whether you're doing creating the offers itself, because you might find in this that for your client, everybody complains about this and your client doesn't even sell that, but they could, and it's an easy sell, quick money, or it's a subscription where they can charge somebody and has a high upside, right? So in the offer creation, in the messaging, like how they talk to their messaging is just how you convey the value of your offer to your audience. So, all right, so advanced extensions done. Let's talk about the ultimate goal here. Pest control person's really good at catching mice or getting rid of roaches, but they have no idea how to build an offer and how to convey the value of that offer to Susie, who has 2 kids, or to Bob, who is, has a house over here, right? And so you have to convey that to them, and the avatar helps you with that. So it helps you in that, it helps you in the SEO, it helps you in creating ads, it helps you in everything. And all of it comes from the reviews, because the reviews that we get from the Google Maps Scraper plugin, what do? They're not just reviews. They give us the language and the words and the pain points and the problems. They're literally the customers speaking out saying, this is what we want. Please come take our money. We'll give you our money if you'll just do these things. And so at the end of the day, you use the Google Maps Scraper plugin to get more leads, sales, customers, and either make more money for yourself or help your client make more money, or ideally both. And that is the Google Maps Scraper plugin. Thanks for watching this Scrapebox video. For more Scrapebox videos, click the subscribe button down below and then click the bell. And then check out these other great Scrapebox videos.